and thanks for joining us all the way from Sydney. It's about, what, 7 o'clock there?
It is. It's just past 7, yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to say that you're on the other side of the world, but your family are doing an amazing job back home, creating this fantastic event. You must be immensely proud.
Well, I am actually, Steve. And when Jack rang me up and said, "Can you do a virtual food festival?" I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, how are we going to do that in Sydney?" But it couldn't be easier thanks to Instagram.
Well, it might be the way forward. And I did explain that none of us are experts on this whole platform. So, God only knows what might work.
Well, tell me when you want me to start.
Yeah, fine. I know. One quick question before you start is that we're obviously putting this together to show some love and support for all the fantastic producers and suppliers that underpin our trade. And I would suggest that you've always pioneered that, haven't you? You've always been the person who kind of the food heroes. Before you start, do you think that this will now be the template for the whole industry going forward?
Well, I think so, because, it's very important to, champion our suppliers who are, after all, our lifeline, particularly in the fish world. Yeah. So, and I do think that Ross Geach's idea is a really good one because, takeaway and online food is what everybody's into now, particularly online. So what would be better than us cooking a few things from our suppliers? But not in my case.
Well, okay. And what dish are you going to do for us, Rick?
Well, I'm just going to do a seafood gratin, which I've done a few times before. Actually, because of the time difference, there's just three of us, my wife Sass and my stepdaughter Olivia, so we're having it for supper. So
amazing.
We're not wasting anything.
Exactly, not just food for show. And just because... Sorry, not just food for show, actually going to eat that, that's perfect. And who are the suppliers that you're championing?
Well, I'm championing, obviously, Matthew, well, not obviously, but Matthew Stevens, who we've worked with, virtually all the time we've been open. But also Fish for Thought, who we're now very happy that we're working with them. So it's both of those. And if you're ready, I'll just start.
Yeah, please do. Crack on. Yeah.
Obviously, the fish is slightly different. I'm making the seafood gratin, but I was just thinking the sort of things that you might be able to get back in the UK. Well, first of all, prawns. We all can get prawns. And I've got here some really lovely prawns, which are, I think, pretty good in the seafood gratin. I suppose if I was back in the UK, I might be using scallops as well, but I couldn't get any this morning. It's all, supply in Sydney's, pretty good, but you can't get everything. But then I'm going to use some salmon, which everybody can get hold of, some nice salmon fillet. And here I've got a bit of flathead, which is a local fish. It's not flathead, silly me, it's kingfish, which my next door neighbour actually bought a couple of days ago. But I suppose if you go to Matthew, you can get the prawns. The point of the prawns really is not only do they look good and taste good in a fish pie because they're lovely red colour, but also I'm using the shells, and I've done most of them already, but I'm using the shells to flavour my stock. I'll just bring the stock over. I couldn't make chicken stock, fish stock, because I don't have any fish bones at the moment. So they're in a chicken stock. But the point of that is you always use the shells when you're using shell-on prawns because there's so much flavour in them. And it really makes a difference to something like this fish gratin. And what I've got here is... Carry on, Steve.
Sorry, it's a very thrifty way of cooking and adding in lots of flavour.
Well, it is, and it sort of suits the times, really, because all of us have to be a bit careful with and not waste things. Yeah. Because it's quite a performance going out and buying food, so the more stuff you can use at home, the better. But what I've got now is I'm starting to make a velouté. And you'll see in there I've got just some butter and some leeks, which I've sweated off with a bit of white wine. And I'm making the velouté, which will be the sauce in everything keeps blinking at me and winking at me when I'm doing these demos. And also, this wonderful induction cooker makes a fearsome noise. But now I've got about 60 grams of butter,
it's real.
60 grams of flour in my pan. And now I'm just going to add chicken and prawn stock.
Great. It's quite tricky to get flour at the moment.
It is. So there we go. That's just the stock in there. Everything's quite hot, so it's happening quickly. Now the other bit that I'm going to put in here now is lots of very rich cream and milk. Because this is a rich dish. I'm unashamedly saying that. So in here I've got cream, I've got sour cream, and I've got milk.
Great.
Just add that in too. And that's basically the sauce that's going to go into my gratin. But I really like putting leeks in there. It just gives a little extra texture. And I do think leeks and seafood go together really well. So
did you sweat down the leeks beforehand?
The NHS fund, isn't it? What's it called, Steve, the fund? The charity?
The emergency, so it's the National Emergency Trust, COVID-19.
That's it, the National Emergency Trust. Well, I'm very happy that we're doing it for them. Very, very happy to be doing this anyway. And I think you can make donations on our seafood restaurant Instagram.
That's right, yeah. So the website that we've set up is the virtual foodfestival.org. That will have a list of all our suppliers, all the people that you've championed and everybody else who's joining us. And there is a kind of simple giving page where you just press the button and you donate as little or as much as you can to the COVID-19 Emergency Trust, and that will get distributed right down to the grassroots level.
Brilliant. Right, well, that's come to the boil now, my lovely velouté. I have to taste it. You really can taste the prawn in that. It's something I'm always going on about, getting quite boring, I suggest, but just using all the bits. There it is. That's just about the right thickness. So I'm just going to leave that just to simmer away gently while I cook the fish. Before I do that, here's my prawns. I've got rather a pretty little gratin dish. We haven't got anything.
Very nice.
So, look at that. So first of all in there, I'm going to put the prawns which are already cooked. There we go. And now for the fish. And I'm just cutting these up into little chunks. Now I bet, and if you are buying this from Matthew or from Fish for Thought, I would suggest you use salmon, but also, in place of my kingfish, I would suggest, if you can afford it, monkfish is the best thing to go into a seafood gratin because it's so firm. It doesn't.
Yeah, very meaty.
In when you finally do it. So there's my kingfish. I tell you what, kingfish, if you like your sashimi, not that you can get it very easily in the UK, but you can. It's brilliant in sashimi. So I'm just going to go over there and stick this in the microwave. Now, you might find that a little bit, excuse me first, a little bit curious for somebody like myself to be using a microwave, but not a little bit. It's a very useful tool. What was that?
Yeah, I find it very reassuring.
Well, I'm also just trying to make this as easy as possible. Now, I do need to cook the fish before it goes into the gratin. Simply because if you put it in raw, it leaches out a lot of juices into the gratin and makes the sauce a bit runny. So I'm just going to go over here and flick on the microwave. Just giving it a minute. I don't need to cook it all right the way through because it will carry on to cook. Now, while I'm doing this, I hope you're enjoying it. While I'm doing this, with my gratin. Now I got this from Dieppe in France, and this is which apples were they? Granny Smith apples. I forgot instantly. Just cut up and sautéed in butter. I've added a little bit of sugar because they are quite tart, Granny Smiths, but they serve with a gratin. It's divine. And I think the reason is I had it in a restaurant on the quayside in Dieppe. I just thought, how weird putting dessert apples in with a seafood dish, but it sort of works like pork and apple sauce. It's quite rich, this dish, and it really cuts through that lovely velouté I'm making in a very satisfying way. Oh, there we go. My microwave singing to me.
Was that, wow, fantastic. Did we see the Granny Smith in your Hidden French programme? Did we see the Granny Smiths in your last TV series, like Hidden Gems of France?
They were a French type of...
Yeah.
Wait for this little tune. Yeah, as you see, they're sort of mostly cooked, and there'll be a little bit of juice in the bottom.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to pour into my sauce. And I'm just trying to make this really as easy as possible, because the thing about glorified fish pies, which this is that everybody loves them. But people are a bit put off by the fact that they take quite a lot of stages to make. So I'm sort of trying to make it really as simple as possible. There we go. And
this is perhaps one. Yeah, this is the most accessible fish pies I've seen.
That's nice.
Great, thank you.
So, next phase, adding my sauce. That lovely velouté. I won't use lovely too often. It's sort of, you know, when you're doing these cooking programs, you end up sort of fixated with certain words, unless you're like Jella Lawson. Her vocabulary is just...
Well, yeah, yes, of course. Well,
now then, I just want to talk about the top to my... This is a gratinated dish.
Yep.
When I had it in Dieppe, it was Emmental cheese on the top. But all I could get... or in fact, Sass could get, she does all the shopping, I'm self-isolating totally, was Jarlsberg, which is the same sort of cheese.
Yeah.
Not being disrespectful to Norwegians, I actually prefer Emmental, but it works the treat. And what I've also done there is put a little bit of paprika in there just to get the colour up. Now here's the bit that ain't going to work.
Oh, nice.
I'm just popping those...
Is that a smoky paprika?
Well, it was Hungarian, not the Spanish one.
Okay. I bet it smells amazing.
Now we need to talk for a bit, but in case we don't get enough colour on it, I'm just going to revert to this, which is, I love a bit of DIY, so I'll hit it with a blowtorch.
Brilliant. And you can also come back later and show us a bit of welding. I can't see. Let's do it. Yeah, fine. I can't see if you've got a glass of wine on the go.
So let's just give it a bit of a blitz.
Great. I want to see this. Come on. Don't you burn that shirt? Look at that.
How's that then?
That's amazing. I mean, who'd have thought? Rick Stein, microwave, blowtorch.
Well, needs musty. That's
exactly.
Needs must.
I love it. You know, everybody's going to be doing this now.
What?
Everybody's going to be doing this now. You started a trend.
Mind you, you've got to have a sort of DIY husband or wife to do it.
Yeah.
But I do all the DIY around here. I'm rather keen. Not terribly good.
I haven't got a DIY bone in my body. My wife will tell you that.
Oh. Well, you can always just get yourself a blowtorch.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look the part. Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to what my son Charlie is going to suggest to actually drink with this, because he's also self-isolating, and I don't know what he's got in that flat of his in London,